Yeah.
So I'll share with you kind of a structure that I think is working, but it's really cool to see. So I have a screen share presentation. This is a company that I've been working with for some time, and I'll share with you what has happened. So I'm going to present. Let's do this here. Don't share these tips again. There we go. All right, it's about to launch, and perfect. Do you see this here? All right.
I do
So
now.
I'm gonna kind of go through like a little bit of use case. So inside of here, what you'll notice is that there was kind of this downtrend. There was a downtrend here, and then kind of a, the traffic though was kind of, not too bad. But it was hitting, some kind of downtrends here up until about the 13th. Even AOV was kind of on a downward trend here. Or if you take like kind of like the middle point, there's on a downward trend here. So things were getting worse. Like it's definitely not heading in the right direction. And at the same time, Meta and Google are spending more and more and more. And I like the back end because this is what a client's going to fire you off of, by the way. This is the only thing a client's going to fire you. You can show a 10x ROAS to a failing company, you're still getting fired. So I like to look at a few different things. And there was actually a comment from Stu EP. Sorry if I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm really bad at this and bad at names. So I'll just call you Stu. But Stu says anything on regression testing and incrementality testing, that is actually this here. This is, you're going to see 3 different sources of truth, and then you're going to see the top line, and then you're going to see how it's all correlated together. But there's multiple sources of truth, and each one are saying something different. So in regression analysis, this is something that takes kind of a scientific approach by saying, there's too many variables that are heading in the right direction and proven by the top line for this not to be the case. So we're going to go through that here. You'll see kind of a then an uptick. And so the store sessions though continue to drop. And then you'll kind of see a little more of a leveling off here and a little bit of an uptick in the orders. And then you kind of see AOV start to pop up here a little bit. What ended up happening is,
by the way, we are in the back end of Shopify here. We are not in platform. Okay. Just to show that. Okay.
That was a downtrend and then the uptick. So that's the sole source of truth right now. The client backend or the account backend of the actual revenue that's in the bank account is the sole source of truth.
But I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
Like that unto itself is exactly what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. Like you didn't go into app to start this conversation. You went into the back end, which is the source of truth, which that unto itself is like where you should always start in most cases. Like, because this tells you the business health. This is the actual stuff that's happening in the business.
Yeah,
so
this is exactly
I'm stating an obvious point, but I just want to make sure the audience understands that. So go ahead.
Well, yeah, it's every business owner out there looks, they wake up one day and they look at their revenue or they look at the lead flow. And that's what they make their decisions off of. There's nothing you can convince a person in the world by saying, yes, you're losing money, but trust me, things are good. A business owner client has gotten to a point where that was not the case, and that's why you're here. Is things started to get worse, and you're actually there to make things better. So here's what's interesting: is we made some changes only in Meta. The changes that we made were in Meta, and it's actually opposite of what people believe and what people think, and basically what has now been kind of standard for the last 2 years. We reversed a lot of that, and I'll kind of share with you how this whole thing came together. It's kind of cool. So we started to see a trend reverse now. This is just the last 6 days. Things are now all of a sudden 38% better. This is the before and after in that graph. We just compared the downtrend to now when the changes happened on the 13th. Yep. So things started getting better. And what's interesting about this is things started to get better, across the board. Now, this is only a change in Meta, and this is where everyone that runs Performance Max, Advantage Plus, if you're an not email, but if you're running the email, you're going to see an uptick in signups. But you're also, if you're looking at organic traffic flows, all of this is affected. And this is why in-app doesn't make sense. And this is why MPIs rule the NCAC, ROAS, in-platform versus media efficiency ratio, top line, the effective cost per new visit versus just CPC. You're going to see something weird.
Which we will get into all those, by the way. If you've never heard of an MPI, we're going to get into that. So fear not. Go ahead.
I move way too quickly, so Ralph's here to kind of take my brain and say humanize.
I do a little corralling every once in a while. That's why it works well between the two of us. So yeah.
Yep. So the direct traffic got better, the search got better, the social got better, and the unknown got better. Now the social getting 125 is really cool to see, but it's also because when we started to turn our new strategy on, our social traffic went down 25%. Same with our cost. And we'll get into the in-app here. You're actually going to see our cost, the amount spent going down $5,000. So 41,000 down to 37,000 is down. And this is the trend that we're starting to see, but the overall effectiveness, everything kind of starts to look better. And this is also the loss of attribution, but the blended attribution. So what is actually happening here is starting a person on their journey is then going to go off and spider web into 100 or even thousands of different unique paths. And that's what everyone really needs to understand is when you start a person on their journey, they will then go and do whatever the hell they want after that. Even buying on Amazon that you cannot see in-app. You cannot attribute that in a third-party platform.
And you can't control it with a sales funnel. I'm sorry.
You can't control it with a sales funnel. No, you can teach on a sales funnel-esque pre-click.
Sure.
But then post-click, it's just like, man, I really hope that was quality enough for them to continue to purchase.
Yeah.
So here's what's interesting is this is a third-party application that they use that shows this. During the same date range, this last 7 days here, we're starting to see some oddities. So new visits are down. This is the effective cost per new visit is roughly staying the same, but they're reducing. They're seeing less in Facebook. They're seeing less in Google. But we're also spending less in Facebook. We're also spending less in Google. Everything got better. All the Facebook is up 17% revenue. However, that's odd, right? Because there's 37% less new visits. Things are getting better, but how is the top line getting 30% better, but Meta's only getting 17%? Well, it's click attributed. People then Meta, you're going to have a 10 times the effect per dollar that you're going to have on inbound search, which means that if I put $1 into Meta, and that is going to go to 10 people, one will click. You're tracking the one will click, but 10 have been affected. Where the other ones go? Well, they Google the brand name. I don't have to spend any more money because when they Google the brand name originally coming from Facebook, this media efficiency ratio goes up, which increases the top line media efficiency ratio. They're correlated.
John, you need to scale up your Google spend.
Right. You can't pull 20% out and get 35% better by only changing Meta. Yes. So when your Meta people and your Google people are in both corners duking it out saying I'm better and I'm better, you have no idea that Meta just handed maybe Google a golden apple and Google has no idea, but then pats themselves on the back and the client say Meta sucks. It's so weird how everything blends together. The paths that these people are going down are immense. Now, here's where I have to bring this back to reality because it's like, well, John, this tool is great. The other attribution tool is amazing. The other attribution tool is great. Obviously, all of a sudden, people that are buying on Amazon are just like going up the spend that is heavy brand on Amazon. All of a sudden, spent 100% more at a 7x return. Like all of this is happening here. Why isn't this accurate? And it's because of the loss of attribution. When I say the loss of attribution, I'm going to use paint because I'm a 5-year-old and I think about it on visual. When there's
the
2
only
points
person
in time,
I know that use MS Paint.
I know. I used to make little stick figures when I was 5 and I just never grew out of it. When the time here between the point of the interest in the first click is close to the point of conversion, attribution's healthy. This may be only 1 to 2 clicks, maybe 3 clicks, but over a course of 24 hours. Right. However, when you have a point in time where a person has started their journey on day 1, and then 8 days later, they then convert over here.
These are the most beautiful graphics I've ever seen.
I know, right?
This is amazing.
I'm going to probably make this into a bumper sticker.
I think you should.
When this is 2 or 3 days and this is 10 days, in reality, this is the point that is happening in actuality. And this is the point that they're converting. But then third-party attribution, even first-party attribution, even server side is still going to apply this here.
Yep.
They're still going to only be able to track this, which means I'm only really going to be able to see the last 4 and 5 clicks. You change device, change Wi-Fi connections, you change IP addresses, you saw a Meta ad while you're in line at Starbucks, and then you pulled out your laptop at home and Googled the brand. We all do this. You do this. You have done this. No one clicks on YouTube ads, but you buy shit because you saw it on YouTube. 100%. But that's what we're seeing here. And this is why the metrics are very important. When you start a person on their journey the correct way, and then all these people spider web into all these different ways that they're going to come back and then sign up for an email and Google the brand and hit your website directly. And then maybe, you know, hit a remarketing ad. And then when you start tracking them again over here, nothing matches up.
Yeah.
Because
you lose them in that messy middle.
We lose them. And the only thing that you can count on is I can probably pick up the last 3 to 4 clicks before the purchase. Not all of the first clicks over here. So this is where we pick them up. We pick them up 3/4 of the way through the journey. And what those people have done is they've already found out what the product is. They like it. They said, can I get a free tomorrow on Amazon? Yep. Boop. Amazon pops up. YouTube goes warm. Just like Meta goes warm. Just like how actually inbound search goes warm. You're going to hear a statistic that's going to probably make you say, I don't believe that. But I have about 4 independent studies that show this in 4 independent data points that are really expensive to show that's actually true. Your inbound traffic using automated bidding on non-brand search and shopping, 60% cold, 40% have already been there. Why? Well, when you use a TROAS, the way that Google predicts the availability of a sale coming from that user, one of the main reasons they use is, have they been to your site before and are they still searching? Remember RLSA, everybody? Go back 5 years ago. RLSA, remarketing list for search ads. Remember how that was like creme de la creme? They built that in. But now they charge you 3 times as much for it rather than you bidding 80% down. So that's what's actually happening. And so everything's going to go warm. Your inbound search, inbound shopping on non-brands going warm. YouTube says, oh my gosh, I have a whole bunch of new people to start to go after. So I bring only 1.6 new visits, but I'm 43% better. Why? Well, it's because it's also hopping and taking credit. Google Ads says, great, I got a bunch of people on inbound non-brand and inbound brand that have heard about me from Facebook. And then Facebook starts the journey, but because this one in the MS Paint is all the way over on the left-hand side, it doesn't get that much credit for it.
Right. It gets hosed. I mean, it'll try to take the credit, you know, but it's a 7-day conversion window, maybe 28 if you're smart, or, you know, if you're doing offline conversions, perhaps 90. But in most cases, it's just 7 and it's click attributed, or you get a bunch of view through conversions on Meta, which confuses the matter even more so, unless you break out those 2 things.